It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Car con carne recording backstage, literally right behind the stage at Taste of Randolph 2024. Car con carne is sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. Are you a homeowner? Are you ready for a truly smart home? Doesn't the idea of minimizing your energy usage while maximizing your comfort sound good? As I'm sitting here on a really hot day with the AC cranked, minimizing your energy usage is a really good idea. Easy Automation will help you find a customized solution that's right for you. They have a team with 30 years of collective experience in the industry and will tailor a service package that fits your lifestyle and needs. What does that package look like? You got to talk to my guy Dan. Give him a call directly at 630-730-3728. Dan will give you a no-hassle, no-strings quote so you can learn how easy turning your home into a smart home can be. easy-automation.net. Tickets for the 2024 Ravinia Festival summer schedule are available now at ravinia.org. So much goodness coming up. The Beach Boys, Elvis Costello with Daryl Hall, ZZ Top, how. So many more, ranging from classical to rock, all points in between, all happening under the stars at Ravinia. Book your tickets today before they all go away. Ravinia.org for the full schedule and for tickets. I need to be sure to not move suddenly. Like, don't scare me out of the blue, because I will yank things out of sockets. Here
okay, I promise not to scare you out of the blue. All
right, thank you.
I'll give you some fair warning.
I can't promise that, but...
This is Car Con Carne, a Q101 podcast. I'm James Van Alstyne, and joining me in the car backstage at Taste of Randolph 2024, it is Alex and Darren of Phantom Planet, who just pulled up. Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having us.
You know, I was going to say, wow, this is great. You arrived in Chicago on a lovely day, but me talking about what a lovely day is probably falls short with you guys. Like, you're probably rolling your eyes like, we know what good weather looks like.
This is a lovely day, but to answer your question, being from Los Angeles, where it is typically sunny and 70-something degrees, we've been spoiled to a degree, but we love Chicago's kind of like our second home.
That's what I was going to say. Like, You've always done well here.
Yeah.
We get you.
Yes, and we get you. So our original manager, Dan Field, grew up here and had tons of friends here. So when we were just starting out, 20 years ago, I think we started our first real tour in this city. Mm-hmm. I cannot remember the venue, but it was a smaller place. And the Flaming Lips came to see us, and we were all like, oh my God, like, we've made it. We finally made it as a band. Darren, do you remember what the name of that club was?
You
Could
were
it have been
talking
Double
about
Door?
this.
Double Door doesn't sound familiar.
Doesn't ring a bell, no. You were talking about this earlier, and I was trying to remember, but I'm not sure what it was.
When we came back there, we played again. This is why I should remember the venue, but we filmed some of our music video for California in that venue.
It wasn't called The Hideout, was it?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
I don't know
Hideout's still
how
there.
that just came back to me.
memory. Thank
Nice
you.
pull.
Just came back to me, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool room.
Yeah, very, very cool room. And ever since then, I guess this is like 2000 and I think it was still 2001.
That sounds right.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So ever since then, we've come to the city so many times and had such a great time every time. And shows have been amazing. People obviously have been amazing.
If there's one thing we've learned too, you mentioned the weather. I think this is great weather because we know how cold it gets here in the winter. So any sun here, great.
Well,
awesome.
as we talk about the contrast between LA and Chicago, I'll never forget, I used to travel for business, and it was a February, and I had to go to Los Angeles. It was one of those days in Chicago where it was like 50 below wind chill. I had to get on a 6 a.m. flight. It was just, you walk outside, your boogers freeze. It's terrible. I went to Los Angeles. It was 90 degrees there when I landed. So I experienced like a 100 plus degree change in temperature within 5 hours.
How did you... I'm sure you dressed for the cold. Did you have shock when you got to LA? Like, were you wearing like a heavy anorak or...
My strategy, and I was parked at Midway. I parked as close as I could to the entrance at the parking garage. I threw my jacket in the back seat of my car. I drove to the airport, ran to the door with my suitcase so that I was just wearing like a button-down shirt.
So you prepped in advance.
Oh, yeah. No,
Okay.
I wasn't taking a coat to Los Angeles.
Thoughtful travel.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
So, this year, if math serves me correctly, 30 years ago, Phantom Planet began.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were playing together as that same band. We just didn't have a name yet. Like a 93. Darren, we
Earlier,
played in 92?
I would say even 92, yeah.
My
Because we
gosh.
played when Jason was still in the band, Jason Schwartzman. We played at his high school, junior high school. It was like 8th grade.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
So there was no way to even imagine that you'd still be talking about this 3 decades later, being in a band together.
Certainly not then. Also, even imagining that we were going to be a band at all. Like when you're talking about playing the Windward 8th, was it Homecoming or was it Graduation?
I don't remember. Homecoming sounds right.
Okay, let's go with
pretty sure that
Homecoming.
was
Sweet gig.
But we were just like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll play this show and see how it goes. I was really nervous. I forgot like all the words to all the music that we were playing. Some of it covers, right? A lot of covers.
Green Day.
Yeah.
I remember we
Nirvana.
did a Green Day cover. Yep.
We did Blue Monday.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't remember the other ones, but I remember I really messed up Blue Monday. That's why I remember that song in particular. But it kind of was just fate cascading. We kept playing together because people liked the music that we were making, and we never got in any huge fights, so we just kind of stayed a band and enjoyed making music together.
Which leads me to the breakup. You went away for about 10 years.
Yeah.
No acrimony there. It was just time to step back for a little bit.
Yeah, like breakup sounds pretty emo. Like I feel like maybe more hiatus, but two of the band members got married, wanted to start a family, and I think I wasn't one of those band members. I just wanted to have more life experience because we started the band when we were 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And the only life we kind of knew was through the lens of Phantom Planet. So I think some of that shift was just like, where am I as an adult in my life? Have I experienced enough things outside of the band? And I think we really got a chance to explore that, and two members are raising two beautiful kids each. So 4 altogether,
they're busy.
if you do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it just, all of us kind of clicked. I think we were at Sam, bass player in the band, his parents' house for a barbecue, 2016 maybe, 17, and we were all just like, why aren't we playing music together? And that question was answered with, let's do it, let's play. And put out a record in 2020 that we recorded in 2019.
That was Devastator.
Devastator came out right at the height of lockdown, which was kind of a shame, but it did help us and a lot of people who heard the record like through some whatever.
Well, how could you have known that year that lyrics like "I'm so low, I think I touched the other side. Who else here is only feeling half alive"? Who knew how appropriate that would be for the year it came out?
It's magical the way art and music works. Like, I'm not going to take any responsibility for having, like, being a psychic or whatever, but like sometimes I think there's just stuff that gets channeled or seem right for the time that even the artist wasn't considering through that lens.
There was, not to cut you off, but there was also the song Quarantine that was on.
Not on that album, but
no, not on that
came
album,
out
but
2008.
For sure. Well, and I want to talk about Quarantine too, because one of the things I've always liked about your band, you go in directions people may not be expecting. Like Quarantine sounds like a Radiohead song to me. Like it moves into, like I said, unexpected terrain. And then, on the same album, on Wake the Dead, you've got Do the Panic, which is just this raw, poppy, fun song. Like, you like to stretch out creatively.
Yes, thank you for saying that, because I think when I mentioned that the band has been enjoying making music together, I feel like it's because we just love exploring stuff, and sometimes songs can sound completely disparate from one another, but that's what we need to do to keep things exciting, interesting, and fun.
Well, I remember when Big Brad came out, the perception was, well, this is Phantom Planet's F you to people who wanted another California.
I mean, it kind of was.
Was it really?
I think like our record label, I mean, I was also a real prick back then, but like our record label was really pushing like, can you write another record of California's?
They actually ask questions like that.
Yeah.
That's like something out of a movie.
I mean, it's like whatever you imagine in a stereotype, like record label corporate thing in a movie that's making fun of it or satirizing it or whatever. It so much like that. Like it's truly. I mean, there's a reason why they have middlemen like A&R guys like in between the band and the real business side.
Yes.
To try to translate what the business wants to the artist. And I've never met any A&R guy that can quite do it with enough finesse that it doesn't sound like total bullshit. But yeah, I think like I was in this spot of like, well, we've put out this record, people know it, and we are at a crossroads where we can keep doing the same music over and over again, and maybe that puts us into becoming caricatures of ourselves or not being able to express ourselves the way we formed the band, like to have fun making music. Is this gonna, if we did a whole record of California's, would that maybe end the band? So I kind of came at it from that perspective of like, no, we need to go on more adventure. Even more adventure.
It makes sense to me. So the newest song we got from you is Drive On. One question I keep coming back to, and I don't know that there's an answer to this. In the modern age, does it make more sense to do that slow drip of singles, or do you think in terms of albums and like 12-song collections of art? I think everyone's still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a, and I'm everybody in this car, I'm sure, is more of an album person. That's how we were raised. That's how we engaged and fell in love with music in the first place. And that's what I would prefer to do were circumstances different. But I think, like for right now, we're trying kind of the new way to do it, and sort of basing some of our decisions of releasing singles just on trying something new. But I think it's almost like we're just giving a snapshot of the album before it becomes a full album. That's how I'm thinking of it. Instead of like, here's just this one song, it's like, this is the trailer that you get when a movie gets announced, but it comes out in like a year, you know, like you just get a little teaser thing and you get excited about whatever the movie is, Top Gun, Maverick, or whatever. So that's how I'm picturing it. If just like, yeah, these are kind of like movie trailers for the full movie that's going to come out later.
So I love this song, and I'm going to say something, and I mean this in the highest regard. This sounds to me like indie yacht rock, and I mean this as the highest possible compliment.
Cool. First time hearing that compliment, so thank you.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I think like there's a lot of channeling of, for me anyway, like lyrically, and it probably seeps out into sonically, channeling what it's been like for me to grow up in Los Angeles and to still live in Los Angeles, and like, you know, I'm mentioning the Pacific Coast Highway in the song, and just a lot of things that are evoking memories for me, or like resonances. I put in the Drive On song, which is a lot of that is kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say yacht, but like Marina Del Rey boat, sure. Or
something
Malibu,
near water.
Yeah, definitely near the beach, near the ocean.
And here's the beauty of music. You talked about how you have this connection with Chicago. We have it right back. You write songs specific to your experience. You're writing, you know, this song. You mentioned the PCH, like you said. We still connect with it. Like it just that is the beauty of music. It's your personal experience, but we find ways to tether into it.
Lovely way to put it, and I feel like that's the highest compliment an artist can receive. And also, I guess, like, you know, Chicago too, a lot of driving happening there too.
That's all we know.
We're in a car right now too. It's just like sometimes this becomes like our altar upon which we pray or we philosophize while we're driving.
100%. You know, I work from home mostly now, so I look for reasons to get in the car. Like, it's construction season, traffic sucks everywhere, everywhere's gridlocked, but to your point, here's my sanctuary. Like, I'll listen to my music, I'm alone with my thoughts. I kind of love that. It's
Yeah.
an important thing.
Mm-hmm. I
And
totally
that's why
agree.
radio worked for so many years.
Mm-hmm. And like radio, I mean, I feel like radio still works if you know, like car culture kind of.
Yeah.
But also the lengths of drives in both cities, we're talking about Chicago and Los Angeles, sometimes the drive is long enough you can listen to an entire album.
Absolutely.
And I love that.
That's
I
just going
absolutely
to the grocery
love it.
store in Los Angeles.
Yeah, just going down the street in Los Angeles takes about 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know if you're the same way. I prefer listening to hard copy music, like vinyls and CD.
Mm-hmm.
I said vinyls. Oh my God, I swore I'd never do that. Records and CDs. Sorry, it's not vinyl store day, it's record store day. I digress. Because when I'm in the car, I tend to skip songs. I tend to like bounce around. I like the experience of listening to records and CDs because I'm just kind of locked in.
Yep.
Like, with a record, I'm locked in for 20 minutes at a time. I'm not re-queuing. I'm in that artist vision.
I feel like there's a lot in there. Like when you have the ability to skip, or even like, you know, a lot of people stream individual songs and they're on a playlist or whatever, but there's less value your attention puts on it, you know? And like, if you, again, with vinyl records, however we want to say it, like, I'm engaged more with the music because I know I'm locked in. And it's also this physical thing. There's feedback. Like when I put this heavy, relatively heavy, compared to streaming.
Compared to records 30 years ago, yeah.
Put a record on and push play, put the needle down, and like engage with it. Just have an experience.
Yeah.
Instead of like you affecting the experience is affecting you. I think that's
Absolutely.
the way to put it.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. As we're here at Taste of Randolph, this is your first show in a couple months, right? It's been a little bit?
Yeah, right? Darren,
The last one we
time we
did, I
played.
think, was with our friend Dallin's band. I don't know how, but they found me.
Right, so a
Long,
couple
long
months.
band name.
Couple months.
Yeah, a couple months.
Yeah, people like to abbreviate that. It's just
IDK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just cut
Great
down the
band, though.
syllables.
We love those guys.
So are you kind of like a boxer, like in the corner waiting for the bell to ring, like getting out on stage? Do you get antsy if you don't play for a while?
I don't get antsy if I don't play for a while. And Darren, our answers are probably going to be different, but like if I don't play for a while and then play a show because I feel like I'm unpracticed, even though we practice so much for this show, but like I'll get nerves a little bit before the show. Not if we're on a tour and we've gone a week through, absolutely no nervousness, no anything, but like I'm definitely going to have probably some pacing moments before we go on stage today.
Lots of good food here. Maybe load up and slow yourself down a little bit.
Definitely, if I eat this is definitely a Phantom Planet thing. No eating at least an hour and a half before the show.
That just makes sense.
Like we've made many a mistake. Like in our teens, also you're starving all the time as a teenager.
Like pizza before a
like
show, the
eating
worst.
we get 2 pizzas and each have a half, like a giant thing before a show, and like you can't sing, you can't play, everything's just like poofing out of you.
Acid reflux.
You can't rock
the whole
on a full
thing.
stomach.
No.
No, it's just not okay. All right, so the new single is out. As we're sitting here in mid-June, what's next for Phantom Planet?
We have a tour in the fall coming up. We're going to be playing with Hanson. We got another tour that we're talking about in the spring, and then before any of those things happen, we're going to release another single or 2, and also just more writing and playing. So.
The second you said you're touring with Hanson, my mind immediately flashed like 50 people I know who will like die to see that show.
So Taylor, singer Hanson, Taylor Hanson, Darren and I sat down with him and 3 of his kids who are lovely to sort of talk about this tour before we even agreed, like planned it. And Taylor just said, like, our fans will freak out if we go on tour. Like, they will absolutely love you guys. And when we've told in some social media context our fans about this tour, because we just announced it a few days ago, they've been freaking out too. So Taylor was exactly right.
Oh yeah, and what I love about that tour, both bands absolutely compatible, sonic fit, but very different. as a music goer, I kind of get fatigued when all the bands have that same style. So by the time you get to the headliner,
fatigue.
You're ready to leave by the time the headliner comes in.
Yeah. Make them fit, but make them different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a slam dunk.
We think so too, and I'm really excited for that to happen. And that starts in October. I don't remember the day. Darren, do you remember that?
I don't remember the day either.
October 11th.
Early we can use
October.
the internet. We can figure that out.
Yeah, I think it's the 11th, but don't quote me on that.
Phantom Planet, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Looking forward to seeing you on stage here and then on stage in the fall.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Awesome.
No problem.
I'm just going to stay right here, though, if that's all right with you.
Because of the AC, right?
Yeah, it's just comfortable.
These
I'm
backseat
good.
podcasters.
Might take a little nap back here.
You're always welcome.